7.2, inverse of relations and functions. Example 2, writing the inverse function. So our first step is to switch our x and our y. Remember f of x is another name for y. So this is my y and this is my x. So I'm literally just switching where those are. So I've got x equals 2y. Next thing I have to do is solve for y. So how do I solve for y? I need to divide by 2. So I really have x over 2. That cancels, equals y. Instead of writing equals y, let's write equals the inverse of x. And f to the negative 1 means inverse. So the inverse function equals x over 2. Let's do these. Start by switching them. So x equals y over 3. And how do I solve for y? I need to times by 3. So these cancel. So I have 3x over here equals our y. So we can write the inverse function of x equals 3x. If we do c, same thing, switch our x and our y. So x equals y plus 2/3. Solve for y, we have to subtract our 2/3. X minus 2/3 equals y, or equals our inverse function of x. D. This time I've got more than just one thing going. So, but we still do the same thing. We switch our x and our y. So x equals y over 4 minus 5. To solve for y, we have to first add our 5. So it says x plus 5 equals y over 4. Now that's over 4, so opposite over 4, or divide by 4, is times 4 on both sides. Okay, and if we times by 4 on both sides, then we can leave it just like that, where we have 4 parentheses x plus 5. And let's write it as our inverse, f to the negative 1 of x. E. We have f of x equals 5x minus 7. Switch our x and our y and solve for y. So we add our 7. So x plus 7 equals 5y. That's 5 times y, so opposite is divide by 5. So we have x plus 7 over 5. And that equals our inverse of x. F looks a little bit different because it's got the parentheses, still doing the same thing. X equals 3y minus 7. Because y minus 7 is inside the parentheses, I really need to do it last. So remember, our order of operations go backwards. So we need to divide by 3 first. So there's a 1 right here. So you can either write it as x over 3 or 1/3 x. Either one is up to you. Equals y minus 7. How do we solve it? Solve for y? We add our 7. So 1/3 x plus 7. Put our f negative 1 of x equals, and we're done. G. Same thing. Switch our x and our y. Oops, sorry, that is y already. X equals 2/3 y plus 2. solve for y, we need to do our subtraction first. X minus 2 equals 2/3 y. Now how do we get rid of a fraction? We get rid of a fraction by multiplying by the conjugate there. Or not the conjugate, the reciprocal. So our reciprocal is 3/2. So all of this gets multiplied by 3/2. So let us go ahead and get this. That is one answer we could have. If I want you to write it in an equation of a line, we don't normally see lines this way, go ahead and distribute that in. So f to the -1 of x equals 3/2 x, and if I distribute this in, I'm going to get -3. Try these two on your own.